Hey everyone, you guys know me as the Ioniq guy, but today I think I'm going to be the Kona guy because Hyundai just revealed some information and photos about the upcoming redesign of the 2024 Hyundai Kona, which is going to come in multiple flavors including gas, hybrid, full electric, as well as an N-line version. And the one I'm obviously most excited about is the all-electric version because my girlfriend, as many of you know, owns a Kona Electric. She's actually leasing it, but it's a great electric car. For the price she pays per month for this lease, which is less than $200, she gets a EV with over 300 miles of range in ideal conditions, and it's just a great commuter car. And I really like driving the car. It doesn't have iPedal, which I do miss when I'm not driving my Ioniq 5. It's also a little bit more cramped. It's not as airy and open as the Ioniq 5. But if Hyundai can keep the price point down for the full electric version, this is going to be a great electric car. And what's most interesting is many of the design cues of the car are taken straight from the Ioniq 5, the Ioniq 6, and probably the upcoming Ioniq 7. So let's take a look at some of the information that was revealed today and see how it's going to stack up to the existing version as well as the Ioniq 5. So if you're interested, stay tuned. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a car that is going to fit all of Hyundai's needs, but they are saying that it was now designed from the ground up as an electric car first, as opposed to a gasoline or a hybrid car as the existing Kona was designed. So that's good news because that means they're going to really make everything work the way it should in a full electric. Like in the Kona Electric that my girlfriend has, the battery pack sits probably a good 4 or 5 inches lower than the rocker panels on the car. So it doesn't have terrific ground clearance. So if they're designing this car from the ground up to have the battery pack tucked up into the rocker panels, then it's going to have better ground clearance. And for many, that's a pretty important thing. The car is also growing significantly. It's growing 5.9 inches in length, and the wheelbase is growing 2.4 inches. So that is a substantial increase in size. So hopefully they're giving that increased length to the back seat as well as the cargo area, because the cargo area is really small in the Kona Electric. The back seat is also very cramped if you're anywhere close to 6 feet. I could not sit behind myself in that car without being extremely uncomfortable. So hopefully that is getting dedicated to rear passengers and cargo space. The front is actually decently sized. Myself at 6'2", I can get a decently comfortable driving position. The center console in the existing version does kind of push into my knee a little bit, which is uncomfortable, but that's just what happens when you're tall. So all of the Konas, be it gas or electric, are going to have a very thin LED light bar across the front, which looks really slick and looks like what the Hyundai Ioniq 7 has been teasing since that concept car came out last year. So I like that design feature. I'm happy to see that it's going to kind of spew across the lineup for Hyundai. That's really cool. And it also incorporates some of the pixel features that we see in the Ioniq 5 and the Ioniq 6. So it's going to keep it in family with the rest of the Ioniq brand, even though it's not marketed as an Ioniq car. So looking at the back of the car, there's also a very thin brake light across the entire width of the car, which looks really cool. And what do you know? It looks like the Kona Electric's going to have a rear wiper. So kind of similar to the Ioniq 5, the door panels on the Kona also have a very straight line diagonal crease in them, except it's flipped compared to the Ioniq 5. In the Ioniq 5, it starts near the side view mirrors and goes diagonally down towards the rear wheel. But here we see it start near the front wheel and go diagonally upwards towards the top of the rear wheel arch. The interior of the new Kona Electric is going to have two 12.3-inch screens, just like the Ioniq 5. And just like on the Ioniq 5, the gear selector has moved from the center console to a stalk coming off of the steering columns. So that's another item of this car that's going to bring it in line with the rest of the Ioniq family. Interesting with the gear shifter stalk is that it looks like it's very square in profile. It's not rounded off like on the Ioniq 5. It looks like it's just a straight up rectangle. So kind of interesting design cue there. You can see in the interior that the car is taking a lot of cues from the Ioniq 5 and the Ioniq 6, namely with the passenger side really horizontal type of air vent design. There's also a lot of ambient lighting in the cabin. You can see some across the dashboard, which the Ioniq 5 doesn't have, but the Ioniq 6 does. Looks like it will be available with a standard-sized sunroof, which is kind of nice. A lot of the switchgear in the Kona Electric looks more like the Ioniq 6's kind of gray-toned switchgear for buttons and plastics in the center console, whereas in the Ioniq 5 we have this gloss black panel for controlling the HVAC and bright silver for all the buttons associated with the stereo and the head unit. It's hard to tell from the photos, but it looks like the center displays might have a bit of a curve to them, or they're separately angled from each other facing the driver just ever so slightly. Something that I think I see in the photo though is that on the left side of the driver display, it looks like there might be another magnetic pad for placing things like magnets or sunglasses with my magnetic eyewear holder. So that's cool to see. I didn't think I was ever going to have another market for selling my little doodads. So that's pretty much all the information we got today. It was just kind of a photo dump and saying that the car got longer. There's not really any other major information here. We don't know anything about drivetrain, but since this is being designed from the ground up as an electric vehicle, let's keep our fingers crossed that they bring in the 800 volt architecture and really bring this thing up to 2023 standards by having DC fast charging speeds of 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. Unlike the old outgoing Kona Electric, which probably more like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, depending on the weather, that car charges very slowly. So hopefully they bring it in line with the rest of the Ioniq family. That would be amazing. If they can keep the price point low, under $40,000, that would be ideal as well. Then it's not cutting into Ioniq 5 territory. So if they can keep it in the mid-30s, really low 40s, I think that would be a good spot for it to live. The outgoing Kona Electric was only available as a front-wheel drive, and it did suffer a lot from that because that front motor was really torquey, and it would spin those front wheels really easily. So if they made it all-wheel drive, that would be really awesome. So what do you guys think of the new design for the Kona Electric? It's definitely more masculine looking than the outgoing version. It's not as curvy, bubbly. It's definitely more angular to kind of bring it in line with the Ioniq 5. But let me know down in the comments. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Do you hate it? I kind of like it. I would like to see more photos of it before I make a final judgment on it, but it'll be interesting to see some more details on it in the coming months. So if you want to know more about the 2024 Kona Electric when that information does come out, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I cover all Hyundai electric vehicles. So anyway, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.